Right then, this is a quick road test video. This is for a Honda Civic. It's a 2.2 ES diesel, and this car is registered FD09XNM, and mileage on the car currently is 127,371 miles. The reason we do all of our videos, and it's very simple, is because we want to ensure that if anyone's online looking at any of our cars, they get to see all of them in operation, regardless of age, price or otherwise. And this one's a case in point, clearly. The reason we do it, by the way, is because we've been to see cars which have looked absolutely fine in photographs, but when you get and drive them, you find out it's got an obvious issue which you'd much rather known about before setting off. So that's why we do it. So coming to this car, a little background to it. It's a car that's come in as a part exchange to us. Clearly we're not going out to buy it for stock. Chap's bought a 10th generation Civic from us, so obviously loves the car, absolutely loved this car. But obviously, it is at the cheaper end of where these cars are. We know that from the advert. We're factoring in the fact that it has a relatively short MOT, and we'll almost certainly need something spent on it for the MOT, but we've factored that into the price quite clearly. Notwithstanding that, it drives really, really well, I have to say. Starts instantly, settles to a complete smooth, even idle without any warning lights on the dashboard at all relating to the engine or any other part of the car. Temperature gauge running as a third. It's been running for quite some time now, and it's currently 27 degrees outside, so it's a toasty hot day. The engines are fantastic. These i-CTDi engines are brilliant. And of course, they're the engines that came before. They put DPFs on them, so quite sought after in that respect. But miles ahead of their time. Such a smooth engine. Pulls like an absolute train, but when it does, it's hushed. It's sweet note to the engine. It makes many modern engines seem absolutely coarse by comparison, but pulls brilliantly. Engine then feeds through into the clutch and gearbox. Clutch of the car, light, positive. Bike points exactly where it's meant to be. It's all good there. And then you're greeted by one of the best gearboxes you'll ever use. It's pretty much perfect. It's slick, it's precise, it's beautifully weighted. It's a gearbox you'll enjoy using rather than having to use it, because it's just it's a pleasure. From the moment you put your hand on the gear lever to when you select the gear, it's just, as I said, it's just engineering. You just feel it's beautifully done. And it feels tight, feels taut, exactly as it would have done when it was new. They build them very, very well indeed. Coming on to the chassis of the car, it is a fantastic drive. I've always loved this generation car. This is the facelift version, so they did revamp the chassis slightly, made it slightly smoother riding. But the steering, and the change of direction is absolutely fantastic. You just have to breathe on the steering wheel and it's wanting to change. It's so keen. It's a brilliant car to drive, and it tracks dead straight. No vibrations coming back through the steering wheel. Feels absolutely as tight as a drum on the road. Really, really does. But it's a wonderful chassis. Chassis itself, this bump there is horrible. Just listening out for any kind of obvious or creaks or groans from the chassis, there are none. It just feels incredibly tight on the road. But the chassis, as I said, it's just for those that enjoy driving still, it's a pleasurable car to drive. It's so keen, its handling is so sharp, it's wonderful. And I have to say, this generation, when they did the facelift, they really ironed out. It still gets caught out by sort of sharp ridges. There's no two ways about it. It's firmer riding than some in its class, but generally it drives so smoothly and so comfortably. It's really, really well done. Brakes, really good brake pedal on the car, nice and solid, no pulsing, no vibrations, all absolutely spot on. Just going to swing around here. So finally, to come inside the car, I adore this interior. I think it's one of the best interiors you'll ever sit in. very well made, as you'd expect of a Honda. But it's just so interesting to look at. You've got this wonderful two-tier design, very futuristic, but it still seems fresh. Because the problem with when manufacturers make futuristic-looking cars, they can date horribly. But this, I think, is just done fantastically well. There are a couple of issues, nothing major. There's the usual things you get on the Civics of this age. These have the electric blinds above your head for the panoramic roof, and they pretty much all stick in place at some point, and this one's no different. So the rear one's open, front one's closed, and it is common with them. You can repair them, it's honestly not worth it because it'll do it again, but that is exactly as it is. And the other one, which again is very, very common on them, because the air conditioning systems weren't particularly strong on the Civics, which they rectified in the later generations because they're pretty much bulletproof now. The aircon doesn't blow out cold, and don't think putting gas in it will fix it. Well, it might, you can give it a go, but as far as I'm concerned, that's exactly as it's going to be. But otherwise you're buying a new compressor or condenser, whichever is required. But as I said, I'm just going to just double check it, but I'm pretty sure. Did try it the other day. Yeah, there's no chill effect to it at all. So just factor that in. If it's something that's really important to you, then this isn't the car, or you'd need to get it done. But as I said, it is very common on the Civics. Apart from that, I have to say, it drives absolutely beautifully. It really does. It doesn't feel like a, what is it now? Crikey, 13-year-old car. It feels far, far taller than that on the road. As I said before, at the start of the video, the whole point is just to pick up any obvious issues. I can't pick up on any or feel any, but we have to be honest with people. We have priced this way hundreds and hundreds of pounds cheaper than anything comparable in the marketplace, and for good reason. It's for someone who wants to buy one, but in the expectation you will have to spend some money on the car at some point. There were advisories on the last MOT, which you can look up online, which are there, which may not need attending to, may need attending to at some point, may need definitely doing, we don't know, but this is priced as it stands, so we hope people will appreciate that before they come to us. As always though, if you've got any questions about the car, don't hesitate to give us a call.